Hey guys, believe it or not, I'm not dead. I know it's been a long time since I've actually uploaded something, but I have been pretty busy for the last week or so. I have a lot of videos to get editing, and so I decided I would just combine two of them into a minimally edited video. It's kind of like that double review I did for Men in Black International and yesterday, except this time I'm minimally editing it, and also this time the films are actually good. Anyways, let's get started with the actual reviews. The first film I want to talk about is Pain and Glory, which was pretty great. Now honestly, the trailers did not make this movie look very interesting to me, but I decided to give it a shot anyway, and it was pretty surprising. One thing I want to note is that this is one of those rare cases where picking a best aspect is legitimately hard. All of the acting was absolutely phenomenal. Antonio Banderas did a pretty spectacular job, and I can see why he won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival. Despite not having the most screen time, Penelope Cruz was easily the highlight of the movie when it came to the acting. Her performance in this movie is undoubtedly one of the best of the entire year. The script in this film is also great. The characters were interesting and well developed, the dialogue was very well written, everything felt real. I was very invested in the story, and at no point was I ever bored. The production and costume design for the film was also pretty great. The film's musical score may be the best I've heard all year. The film's pretty great on a visual level as well, especially when it came to the shot composition and framing choices. Admittedly, I would have preferred less of the shot reverse shot, but at the same time that did not really plague the film that much. Despite this decision being a bit underwhelming visually, I was able to look past it. Unfortunately, I cannot look past one really awful scene. There's this absolutely atrocious sequence about geography and anatomy, and it looks like a primary school science video. The dialogue and acting in the scene is not even that bad, but it's just so poorly presented. It kinda just looked like a stock footage collage. On top of that, the scene ruins the flow and tone of the movie. I understood its purpose in the movie, but it just felt so out of place. And that really pains me to say because that one scene just brought the whole film down by a point. It's just an embarrassment of a scene slapped into an otherwise incredible movie. But hey, at least the film's still incredible. All in all, I definitely recommend you check this movie out. It's such a well-crafted movie on basically every level that it would be a crime for you to not see it. It gets its wide release here in the UK on the 23rd of August, so make sure you check it out. And I'm giving Pain and Glory a 9 out of 10. The other film I want to talk about today is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the latest movie from Quentin Tarantino, which the UK only just got this month. What the hell's up with that? Anyways, I'm glad to say that this movie was definitely worth the wait. As expected from a Tarantino movie, it was visually incredible. The cinematography was fantastic, the setting felt real thanks to incredible production and costume design. I really adored the attention to detail with the lighting in the movie. I was also really expecting to adore the acting in the movie, and yep, that happened. Leonardo DiCaprio was great as expected, Margot Robbie fit her role incredibly well, Brad Pitt absolutely blew me away in this movie, and even with all of those incredible performances, my favorite came from Margaret Qualley. Long story short, expect this movie to get nominated in basically every acting category at every award show this year. The dialogue, story, and characters were all fantastic as expected from a Tarantino movie, but what I did not expect from this movie was the tone. I'd already heard going into this movie that it was much more mature and slow than most of Tarantino's films. I mean, the runtime already tipped me off to the fact it would be pretty slow, but at the same time I wasn't expecting it to be as slow as it was. However, I was never bored at any point, and it was actually a very nice change of pace for Tarantino. As much as I love all of his films, I found his direction in this film to be a nice change of pace. All of his films have very interesting and well-developed characters, but this is the first of his I would actually call a character study. It was a very nice look into the life of what it's like to be an actor. And again, DiCaprio and Robbie just sell it perfectly. I also want to note that anyone who's worried about the treatment of Sharon Tate in this movie can rest easy, because not only did Deborah Tate herself actually approve of the film and Margot Robbie's performance, but Tarantino treats the character of Sharon Tate with so much kindness and respect. This is probably the first time one of his characters could actually be described as angelic, and on top of that, he treats the Mansons with no respect whatsoever. I won't spoil anything, but trust me when I say I very much enjoyed the direction they took with the Mansons. The film had pretty great music. I have noticed a few people have complained that the film uses a few tracks that Bad Times at the El Royale used, and they called that distracting apparently. And it is now I would like to note that my second favorite movie of last year was Bad Times at the El Royale, so I did not really mind being reminded of that movie. The comedy was very effective and I enjoyed the tone as a whole. Unfortunately, the movie is not perfect, but its issues are incredibly minor. There were a couple of scenes in the movie where the green screening work could have been better. Admittedly, there were only 2 points where this happened and they were for very short amounts of time, so I don't mind it that much, but at the same time it was still there. And my other issue with the movie is not really an issue of the movie and more a missed opportunity. There's a couple of scenes where we get to see Leonardo DiCaprio's character acting in a new project he's working on. And the scenes are shot from the perspective of the cameras filming it, so that was pretty cool. We get to see the different angles that are going to be used in the final product and it all looked really good. But unfortunately, the camera quality looks a bit too modern. There are other scenes that are kind of like this in the film that were clearly shot on an older camera, but in this case they just didn't for some reason. Again, it makes sense because they're on set and it's not actually the final product, but at the same time it felt like a bit of a missed opportunity. However, that is not an issue as much as it is a missed opportunity, and my only issue with the film is just a couple of bad green screens that were not really there for long. All in all, this is definitely a masterpiece. I mean, sure, it's not my favorite of Tarantino's, but at the same time, Tarantino has set such a high bar for himself that that's kind of impossible at this point. Overall, I would recommend this movie. If you haven't seen it already, you definitely need to check it out. This is without a doubt one of my favorite movies of the entire year. And if Tarantino decides to make this horror movie I'm hearing he wants to make, then I cannot wait to see it. And I'm giving Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a 10 out of 10. Anywho, expect my channel to get a bit more normal now. I hope to have a few videos out soon on different things that I'm a bit late on, like a top 20 ranking and some topical videos and some more reviews. After all, I am seeing the Dora movie tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about that. Also, I have made absolutely no work on the third part of my Krampus series. I'm kinda just procrastinating getting back to it at this point. On top of that, I have a couple of videos in disputes at the moment. For some reason, record labels waited until over a month after I released the videos to actually try and claim them. And I don't really want to have to be fighting too many disputes at the same time. But yeah, I'll get around to the Krampus stuff at some point. I'm sure you'll see it maybe around the end of August or early September, I don't know. Anyways, that's the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, I'm bad at outros, and I'll see you in whatever I do next.